Hello, welcome to Close-Ups. I'm Joe Collymore, your host, and our guests today are the co-founders of South Shore Home, Life, and Style magazine. How are you, Maria Allen and Jane Cornyn?
Great.
Thank you for having us here
Nice
today.
to have you both here. Before we get into the discussion about the magazine itself, let's get a little bit of your backgrounds. And when did you first get this bug for publishing, and did it start in elementary school or what? Maria, you want to go first?
Yeah, I was an English major in college, but I have always enjoyed storytelling, and I do have a vivid memory of being a small child and making, in those days, like big paper fake newspapers, and cutting out pictures of, from fashion magazines and putting little articles in it. So when I look back, I think, oh, maybe this was something that, I secretly knew that I wanted to do. And when I graduated from college, I knew I wanted to be in some sort of media, and I kind of was trying to figure that out, whether it was in print, in newspapers or magazines, or in television or something like that. And I actually got into it because I volunteered for free as an intern the summer after I graduated at Cape Cod magazine, I was living on the Cape. And so I worked for free for a summer down there, and learned the ropes, and it was a great way to get my foot in the door. And so in the fall of that year, they were expanding their company to create South Shore Living, and I was hired as an editorial assistant at the ground level. And so while that magazine is no longer in existence, it was a great experience. And over the years, I worked my way up, and I ended up the editor of South Shore Living for 10 years. So that's one of the ways that I really have come to know this community very well.
How about yourself, Jane?
Well, I've worn many hats throughout the years. I started as a financial advisor years ago, and I kind of consider that a past life before kids. And since having kids, I've had various positions, work around the motherhood duties. But I love the magazine and the advertising fields, because it gets me to know a lot of small business owners in the area. And the idea of advertising is to help them get more business and to introduce them to people that might not know them. So that's always been very positive. I've had some good relationships, and there's some great companies in the area. And what we want to do is help them and introduce our readers to them, and vice versa. So, I've worn a lot of hats, but this has been the one that works very well.
Now, it takes great courage, I think, and some fortitude to make that decision to take this entrepreneurial plunge. How much deliberation went on between you two before you decided to go forward with this magazine?
Well, we're notified that the company was shutting down the Friday before Christmas. And so we spent our Christmas week deliberating what we were going to do. And personally, I really love the South Shore. I've worked here for so long. I wanted to be able to work in this region. And Jane was the one who kind of came up with the idea, and she said, hey, I think we can make this work. So we started talking about it very early on, running some numbers, trying to figure out the logistics of how it would work. And we knew that there were other publications, media companies, other businesses that would probably fill the void if we didn't act really quickly. So we knew that we wanted to just hit the ground running, and we did. So we had our first issue come out in, it was like mid-April, and that we had that.
Yeah, it was right away. It was kind of start moving and learn and figure stuff out as you go. And we've absolutely learned a lot, even in just 6 months. But I'm pretty proud of how quickly it was done and how beautiful the magazine came out. And we've had tremendous support. Everybody loves it.
And we definitely, sorry not to interrupt,
Please.
we definitely couldn't have done it without the community of contributors that we already had and the community of advertiser relationships that we already had. I was really lucky that I had reliable writers and photographers in the community that I knew very well and I knew could deliver high quality product. And so that was the easy part. Putting together the stories was the easy part. The learning curve was all of the business side of it. As any entrepreneur knows, that takes time to put those pieces together. But that was exciting too. So.
Now, you mentioned earlier that there were some very good things about the previous magazine that I presume you've incorporated into your magazine. But what also are you doing that's new, that's different? Can you share with us what that all is about?
Sure.
Well, I think that there's a little more personal control and a little more artistic freedom, and we've gone to quarterly, which gives a little more life to the magazine. It's not every month we have to come up with new things to write about. So we definitely are still focused on the positive, beautiful stories of our region. People like to read about things they know and places they might go. They love the restaurant section. They love to read about homes and the calendar. So we've really just taken kind of the old formula and improved upon it, I think.
Yeah, it was an opportunity to take what we knew was working and just, grow that. I think going down to a quarterly schedule was actually a great move for us for a few reasons, but one of them being these issues have a longer lifespan on the newsstand and in people's homes, and so they can be appreciated for a lengthy period of time. Like Jane was saying, the community really appreciates these stories that bring out things they know, but for me, it's always the hidden gems that I get excited about, finding these inspiring individuals or businesses that are doing something exciting, putting it in the magazine, and then having people say, I never knew that was in my backyard. So
yeah,
that's always been a really exciting part of the job.
Give us an example of one of those hidden gems that you talked about.
So we just released our fall issue, which has a beautiful cover of Cross Street Flower Farm in Norwell on the cover. And one of the stories in this issue is about a bakery called Mainstay Bakery in Scituate. And that bakery I knew nothing about, but our writer, Kelly Chase, who's a friend of ours, she heard about it, and it's a great story of this local guy who just really wanted to own a bakery and started one in a barn on his property, and now has grown it to great popularity and has lines out the door in his neighborhood of people who come for fresh baked breads and pastries and pies and all of that. And you would never know, if you didn't read about it or have somebody give you the word on the street. So.
And I also understand in this particular fall issue, you also include a profile on a local Hingham business that's engaged in concrete by design. Let's
Correct.
talk about that a little bit more.
Sure. So Peter Summers is the owner of Concrete Poetry, and I had another contributor reach out to me and pitch that story. And it's a very interesting home-related story. If you're into interior design at all, concrete is something that is used for all sorts of countertops, whether it's kitchen counters and bathroom counters, but all throughout the home. And Peter does all kinds of really great creative artwork as well, and he's started leading workshops right here in Hingham at his studio that's just up the street from here, actually. And so people can learn all the basics of like creating counters and decorative vases and all these very interesting things. So another person I never would have known about, if we weren't in this line of work.
Yeah, it's amazing. He teaches a DIY, basically, how to make your own concrete coffee table is one of his offerings. So something very unusual, but really fun and different and accessible to everybody in the area.
Your theme of the fall issue is empowering women. Why did you choose that theme, and what is it that you hope to convey in that message?
Well, we have always had in the past one of our issues be focused on women, inspiring women, empowering women. And it started as something that we wanted to do because of Women's History Month. This was with the previous magazine. But then it grew into this really popular theme that we had. And so every year we would feature women in business and women artists, and it became a really exciting thing for both our advertisers who wanted to showcase their success as women in business, and also a way for us to put a lot of really fascinating people together in one issue. So this particular year, we decided to do it in our fall issue. We have a feature that's spotlighting several female entrepreneurs. We have Everybody Water, which is a really great local company that is doing amazing things, bringing environmentally friendly boxed water to the community. I don't know if you're familiar with
I
them.
am, yes.
Yeah?
I'm smiling
Great.
because I recognize that brand, yes.
We have Call to Action Clothing, which is a Hingham designer who came from a background in major fashion world background, is launched her own swimwear line that is also has like an environmentally conscious bent to it. And then we have Top, the Organic Project, which is a Duxbury-based company, which is doing amazing work to educate and provide organic, feminine hygiene products. Really, there's a big focus on educating young women and offering products that are not currently prevalent in the marketplace. So, and all of these women are local, and they're doing really big things. So it's really exciting. And
the profiles hit on everyone from a pediatric dentist to an attorney to interior designers. I mean, the talent of women in the area is obviously tremendous. So it is nice to be able to spotlight and introduce the public to these people. And people love to read about it, I think. They want to know more. They want to know who might be around the corner that they've never heard of before.
Now, is this magazine, even though it is published by women, is it intended just for women, or what do you say to the male observer who says, well, I'd like to really check out this magazine, but like, is there anything in here for guys?
Oh yeah, we definitely have more women than men, but we do have a great deal of male readers because they're interested in the area. So there's home design, there's, again, I said restaurants, real estate, and gentlemen are equally as interested.
Yeah, even in these issues where there is a major focus, it's also very inclusive. So we have a lot of stories that kind of cover different interests, and it's not all women focused.
No.
But it's every issue. It's nice to have a package that is kind of a central theme that people can look for. So we have our spring issue is like home design and decor focused, but there again we have a wide variety of stories in there. Our summer issue is food and drink focused, restaurants. We had a great article about kitchen design in that issue as well. So home is always something that we incorporate into this magazine. And to go back to your former question, that's one of the things that we're doing more of now, that in this new magazine that we didn't have a chance to do as much with before, is beautiful home stories, architecture, interior design, and really showcasing these people who live locally and work locally. And so that's a new thing that we're really adding.
Yeah, and people like to read about transformations, and there are so many gorgeous homes in the area that
Indeed.
that are worth learning more about.
Now, with the release of the fall issue, obviously you're already beginning to work on the winter issue, correct? Mm-hmm. And without letting too much out in terms of spoiler alerts, are there any particular themes aside from of course, the obvious holidays that will be upon us in your winter issue?
Yeah, we touch on holidays, but our winter issue will be out through the holidays and into the new year. So, we have a lot of stories that kind of are cozy, whether it's home related or food and drink related, and health and beauty. So things that people are thinking about when it's cold and bitter in the winter, but ways they can jump into the new year and feel good.
Now, when someone has an idea, a tip, if you will, that they think it just makes for a great profile, how do they communicate? How do they get your attention about that?
Oh, we hope that people feel very comfortable reaching out with ideas and stories and introductions to people. We have a great Facebook page and Instagram, or we have a wonderful website. People can upload calendar events and send us information to the editor, but we encourage people to reach out because we're trying to always talk about something new and interesting, and we don't know it all. I mean, it's all community based, so the more the community is involved, the better we'll be.
And from my standpoint, we do have a stable of writers that I often work with, so they often bring story ideas to me. But it's also the people that I meet when we're out at a photo shoot who might tell me about something that I don't know about. And so I'm always keeping my eyes and ears open for interesting stories. And I also just wanted to mention one thing that I forgot to mention is one of the reasons we put we were excited for this fall issue to be a women's theme is also because I recently got involved with this South Shore Conference for Women, which is a new event on the South Shore. It's going to be on October 11th. And so I joined the community board for that organization and that event this year. And it was a great opportunity as we were just launching our business to really get involved with a community of go-getters here in the South Shore. And so I'm really excited for that event, and it will be great because some of the women who are featured in this issue are also going to be panelists and speakers at that event. So it's great to connect the dots and to kind of use our network to bring people together who might not otherwise know one another.
Let's talk about the distribution system of your magazine. How is that set up, and how different formats is it available?
Sure. Well, we're on 250 or plus newsstands. So you can find us at most CVS, Stop and Shop, Shaw's, Home Goods, Whole Foods, excuse me, Barnes and Noble, which is pretty exciting. And then we have a very nice subscriber base. So people can go to the website and subscribe, which would be great. And that really keeps us going forward, keeps us alive.
Social media. You have a website?
We have a
And-
great website that was developed by a Hingham company, Mavro, who is wonderful. So people can visit our website and see a lot of former stories. We have a calendar. We have all the different, and we have a directory of clients and restaurants and places to go. So it's chock full.
It's definitely, when we launched this new magazine, we wanted to have a vibrant website, and we're still very new, so we are growing it in small increments. But I think the dream is to not only have the content that we have in the magazine, but to really bolster that and increase the original content that's on the website. And whether that's in written stories or in video storytelling, or really expand what we can use the website for. We're really just at the tip of the iceberg of that, because we're still in the, it's been less than a year, that we've been doing this. So, but I have great expectations for where we can take that. And social media obviously does play a big role in how we get the word out about what we're doing, and gives people a little window into behind the scenes, and that's fun as well. So, if we're on a photo shoot, we can sneak a photo of, the photographer doing their work. And so that's great.
Yeah. And one of the things that's coming up that that people are always interested in, the former magazine had something called the Best of the South Shore, and we are going to launch a similar program called the Diamond Awards, where our readers get to vote. We always honor editorial integrity, and it's a real reader vote. So you can't, pay to play there, but people like to vote for their favorite restaurant, their favorite hair salon, their favorite interior decorator, and that will be launching in the next couple months, and everybody loves to be involved in that. So that'll be a big web piece.
When you do your topical profiles, one of the impressions I have is that you're very rich, you go very in depth. Can you expand on what's your philosophy about the different topics that you choose?
Yeah, we want these magazines to be positive and enriching, and to really showcase the lifestyle here on the South Shore. And when we pick people, we want to give their story, but we do focus on the successes and the positive angles. And, we're not focused on headline, negative headlines that are going to get a lot of clicks. We really want to tell great stories, meaningful stories, and entertaining as well.
And I would say timeless. You could pick up our first issue that came out in May and read it in December, and it's still interesting and will probably be readable a year from now, because it's about people and places, and it is a story. It's not a news flash that's changes the next day.
Yeah, we take a good amount of time putting the pieces together. Our writers will go out and interview the subjects, and then we work together, myself and the writer, to kind of shape the stories. And so it's we really put a lot of care into it. And I think that is something that people experience when they pick up the magazine, that they can really get an experience out of reading it instead of just like a flash by kind of story.
Yeah, the funny thing is, if I have a magazine or someone does, you see them touch it. I mean, it sounds crazy, but they kind of stroke it. People like the feel of it, and that they can sit just like an old-fashioned book. You know, the difference between reading a book and a Kindle is still pretty dramatic. So people love the experience of sitting with a cup of tea and savoring some really interesting stories and having some quiet, non-digital time.
Well, Maria and Jane, I have enjoyed just sitting with you and just discussing Social Home Life and Style magazine. Needless to say, I'm looking forward to delving into the fall issue here.
Thank
Of
you.
course, with great anticipation for the winter issue, which then says you have to promise to come back and visit with us again so that we can stay pace with how you're doing and some of the exciting projects that you're working on.
That would
We'd
be
love
great.
that.
Sounds
yeah.
great.
Thank you so
Very
much.
good.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us.